It's fine. Now it's perfect.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll just be over here looking at Jack Owoc's AI memes.
I just looked at that. Have you seen it? The newest Instagram?
Yes.
I haven't seen the newest one, but they're all pretty terrifying and all look like a Blade Runner.
I sent it to you, Jay. It's like only his lips
the
are
newest
moving.
One. Okay, yeah.
And he looks like a 30-year-old Mark Wahlberg. In your dreams, buddy.
It's a different tone than he had last week. When last week he was like, I wish Monster well, Godspeed or something like that. God bless them or something. Now he's calling them evildoers.
Yes.
And the evildoers have, taken over $1 billion company. They've infringed on my First Amendment rights. I mean, the whole thing is very dystopian because it's not him talking. I mean, it's his voice, but they have this weird AI where it's just his lips moving. He's like in the suit doesn't move. He's like, these are evil.
He's in a hoodie.
Yeah, he's in a hoodie part of the time. He's in a suit part of the time. That's all we got though, folks. I mean, if you're an AB distributor and you're gonna lose Ghost next week, you might want to give him a call. I mean, I don't know.
Well, you know what? They will.
Coke will never buy him out or Dr. Pepper, right? He's toxic. Like whatever he has, he's got.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he said it on LinkedIn. He posted today. This transaction, speaking of the KDP deal that just transpired, this transaction leaves our former distribution network having roughly 277 distributors wide open to once again distribute what I believe is the most significant innovation in beverage in the last decade, AI energy drinks. So you hear that, guys?
He might be right. I mean, he's done it before. Why,
They'll take them.
They'll take them. 100%. They'll take them. Yeah.
And, if you can get all those influencers back, I don't know. So, yeah, news broke early this morning. KDP making a play for Ghost, and it's like a $900 million deal for just 60% of the company this year. And then, in a few years, they'll buy the rest at a predetermined formula. It's about 3.5 times net revenue. Already has $135 million in cash, so you can reduce that from the purchase price because when you purchase cash, you usually buy it dollar for dollar because it's cash. That's how that works. So enterprise value is lower because of the cash, but still the big question remains, right? Why didn't AB make a play? Are we assuming, or do we know if AB had a right of first refusal?
I don't know that. You would assume that they would have had first crack at it since just to remind people if they forgot, this Ghost Energy drink was born of a JV between AB and Ghost because Brendan Whitworth had taken a personal interest in this brand, right? And so they had some sort of minority stake through that. I don't know what the minority stake was worth, but you would thus think. But I've been talking to some wholesalers who are like obviously pissed off, very much so. But if you were like, well, I know that the powder wasn't necessarily something that AB would want, that was a little bit of a friction point. I also heard from some sources, not wholesalers, that Ghost Energy, the single, was kind of a loss leader in terms of profitability to AB. I don't know if that's true, so let me just disclaim it with that. But, they had a reason for not jumping at it. And, we talked about this earlier, but they had $1 billion to buy it if they wanted to. They did.
Yeah. I mean, so my first reaction was, well, AB is trying to pay down debt, right? That's what they've been trying to do. They're actually selling things, right? But you're right, Jen, $1 billion to a company of ABI's size is not that big of a purchase. And you're also right that they may not have been making money on the single serves because remember, in non-alc, there's not only slotting fees that you have to pay, but also you got to buy coolers and it can be expensive until you get to scale, and they're 3.5 share of energy. I don't know if they're at that scale yet.
And Ghost is in the big single serves. They're not in slim cans like almost every other energy brand, or top one. Them and Bang are still in the big ones. But after Samcom this year, this news is all the more shocking because in February, Ghost closed out the brand presentations, and it was probably more airtime than any other brand that I can recall, a non-core brand. And it was Brendan himself sitting down with a co-founder and Fabrizio Zonzini, and they talked for like 30 minutes. And Brendan, said, "This is the brand I want to go into battle with for energy and hydration," and put up the projections of how big they think energy is going to be and how big they think hydration is going to be. And now, 8 months later, they just parted ways with it. So that makes me think that something went wrong.
Here's kind of a theory that I have. Again, I don't sit in on ABI's board meetings. They quit inviting me. Let's assume that they had first right of refusal. I find it very difficult to believe they didn't. So this deal was probably brought to them first, and that would go to the board. And I'm just wondering if the board, who is not wanting to invest a lot in the US, they've just got burned with all those craft brands, right? And they're thinking, do we want to spend $1 billion plus on a brand and to go up directly against Coca-Cola and Pepsi and KDP? Like, that doesn't seem like, with one brand, it doesn't seem like a great deal for them to do that, just strategically. On the other hand, you're really screwing your wholesalers a second time in as many years. I mean, with the Bud Light thing and then now this, it's just a double whammy. And I don't know if the board puts a monetary value on that of, hey, you're weakening your distributors in the US again. It's if I had to guess, I bet Brendan wanted to buy it and the board shut it down.
I agree. I think Brendan would have wanted to buy it. Yeah. But who knows? So
yeah, I mean, that was his baby. I mean, that's kind of his legacy for what, I mean, that's probably the biggest thing he's done since he's been CEO, right? Or
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, they Ad Age has written all these stories about the beginning of that brand and Brendan flying to meet them and all that's So
reverse engineering the email, just taking a blind shot at what their email would be to get in touch with them.
Right. Things that we do every day.
Yeah. Exactly. Every day.
But what's surprising to me is KDP is the buyer because they just took a stake in C4 not that long ago. And I guess they're positioning this as C4 is a gym rat brand while Ghost is a more general market gamer brand.
Which is funny because y'all have seen the founders of Ghost, right? And you've seen their big supplement business.
Right. They're gym rats.
Yeah.
Right. They're gym rats who also play games.
Yeah.
I have a son like that.
I like how they can draw the distinctions around those brands because I don't see it. So,
yesterday I had 3 cases of Ghost delivered to my house because I drink an energy drink every morning because that's how I stay so young and healthy. And I'd been drinking Alani Nu, and I was like, I haven't had Ghost in a while, so I just ordered it. And because I only drink energy drinks that beer distributors sell, right? I'm a ride or die kind of guy. I'm an eater, Jordan, as you know.
Yeah. Okay.
And
okay, says
and
Jordan.
So now I have all this Ghost that I got to throw out. I'm not gonna throw it out. I'll drink it, but
give it to the dogs.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
I guess it's
give it to the puppy.
I'm an Alani Nu guy,
What are you gonna do after they sell, Harry?
Congo will never sell. They are.
Yeah, Congo will never sell. They're gonna get into that Lunchables business. That's what they're doing.
I mean, going back to Jack Owoc, that might be our only hope. I mean, he's our Luke Skywalker.
You got to start drinking AI energy. That's right.
Yeah,
you can pre-order
he's going
it now.
up against the Empire, and the Empire keeps striking back. And you'll see in today's issue of Beer Business Daily that Jordan, I thought you came up with a great title, or it may end up being the subtitle. What does it say?
If you build it, they will come. and take it.
and take it. Right. And in fact, if you on our last podcast that I had with Bud Dunn, we actually talked about energy drinks. And he said, if you want to become a billionaire in the non-alc business, build a brand on the backs of beer wholesalers and then sell it strategically to a big soda bottler or soda person, whatever,
which
soda company.
Well, which begs the question, we know that the termination value that these wholesalers are going to get is 2x. Why don't y'all band together and refuse to take these brands for less than 5x? I don't understand. Like, why do y'all keep taking them for this fair market value? Stop doing that, y'all.
I mean, Jen, out of Babe's eyes, out of Babe's mouths, what is wrong with me today? Out of Babe's mouths,
Babe's ears.
you're exactly right. And I said that on the Bud Dunn podcast as well. I said 4x because I wasn't being greedy like you, Jen. But yeah, and there's always one wholesaler in the state that ruins it for everybody. Because he's like, well, shit, I took it for 1x. Sorry. And it's like, well, okay, thanks, bud.
But I think that's part of their, I don't know, but whatever the non-alc version of Pestalozzi is. So that's like encoded in the AB non-alc contract. But still, like, I don't know. Anyway, I know easier said than done. I'm just like, I'm mad for y'all. I'm sad for y'all. Y'all built these brands. It's not right.
Yeah.
And looking at the timeline, unfortunately, most of these brands have found further success after, except for Bang, which went to Pepsi. And then a few months later, Jack Owoc fired Pepsi.
Right.
And so they, had a pretty disastrous downfall. But other than that, they're going to gigantic systems, and they've been able to go to outside of the independents and some of the other places, which is why they all say this is why we're doing it.
Right.
We can get a little further penetration in places.
Right. I've written in Beer Business Daily a couple of times, I think, that, well, they're going to go in these bottling systems and they're not going to get the distribution, and that's wrong. I mean, I still maintain that beer wholesalers service C-stores, especially independent C-stores, better than anybody else. However, when you've got Coke and Pepsi and KDP working the chains on the back end, paying for the space, that's their business. They're good at it, and they have the money to invest behind it. And especially a brand like Celsius that needed that kind of investment at the time. So they have done very well post beer wholesaler yanking, but it ain't fair.
No, it's not. What does AB do? I mean, are they going to get back in energy or hydration? I don't feel like you can replicate.
Great question.
What they had with Ghost. And I mean, Molson Coors is learning that right now, and they have a celebrity brand partner, and Zoa hasn't really taken off the way they had hoped.
Right.
It's not an easy category to whip up.
It seems like if AB came out with a new to world brand just for their wholesalers, just to have something for them. I mean, because they're used to servicing that part of the cold box now. They can do it. They've proven they can do it. It wouldn't take that much, but that may be something. They don't want to lose focus on their beer brands, and big companies work at scale.
That's crazy, though. I mean, to grow a brand from nothing in 4 years to be 3-ish share of the energy category, that doesn't just happen, I mean, I don't know how you give that up. I'm sure they'll be compensated for it, right? I mean, they had a stake, so they'll get some money. AB will get some money, right? I mean, but is that worth it over the long term?
No, they just didn't want to keep investing in it against the triumvirate of massive companies, Coke, Pepsi, KDP. I feel like Jack Owoc he's poisoned the well so much with the strategics that there is no exit for him. So maybe that is the brand that
it's not going to Coke. It's not going to Pepsi. I think KDP is smart enough to know not to mess with that.
Yeah.
You're right.
Man.
I mean, that might be the one brand that distributors can feel
Yeah.
comfortable like, this is ours.
This is ours. And the guy's proved he can do it. He's good at getting influencers online. And what perfect timing for that guy. I mean,
Oh,
he's
man.
real religious. Maybe God is listening to him because I mean, this couldn't have been better timing.
You don't want to anger his God, okay?
No, whatever God he's
He says, "You have angered my God," he says.
the AI thing is so cringe that it might actually go viral because of its cringiness. Like I could see young people saying this is so cool because it's so bad.
I will say, Jordan and I snuck into a virtual Bang meeting. What was it, Jay? Like 3 years ago?
Yeah.
And I have never been so fucking entertained. Like there
Please
were
describe.
there were dancers, there were fireworks, there was ridiculous pontification, of course, and then Jack goes, "Sign the fucking contract."
Yeah.
I mean, I got epilepsy that day,
Yeah.
it
Our
was
ears were
amazing.
ringing. But
Jordan
I mean,
was
he is a
seriously
showman.
shook.
He's like a wrestling character, because he would have all these digs for Rodney Sacks and call him Slacker Sacks, and
He's kind of like a Trump character.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
And he would describe his products as bad to the bone, which
Yeah.
like
That's
And
awesome.
he was like, "No stupid flavors like cucumber."
Yeah.
I was
There
like,
is room in the market for a Jack Owoc. Let me just say, I exchanged some emails with David Fonte, and because he loves to write about Jack, that's like his
"Oh yeah."
favorite thing to do. And I was like, boy, you got a lot of fodder coming your way, buddy. It is here. He's like, an AI created the label, and I'm like, yeah,
I can tell.
like it's wow. I wish him luck. Couldn't have happened at a better time. And why not take it on? I mean, he's not going to yank it, and maybe it does well. I don't,
Yeah.
but he's still going down this road of ingredients that are impossible. That
Oh yeah.
just kind of impossible scientific claims, which is what got him in trouble in the first place. This will make your eyesight, all these weird, we don't use natural cocaine. I mean, I'm sorry. Wow, that was a slip.
Natural cocaine.
We don't use natural
cocaine.
caffeine. We don't use natural caffeine. We're using synthetic caffeine because it's better for you. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right. But I'm not a scientist, but neither is Jack Owoc. I mean, that's the thing. But
I love how this pod was supposed to be about the deal, and instead it's about Jack Owoc.
yeah, I mean, no, all roads lead to Jack.
True.
And Jack, if you're listening or somebody sends this to you, we'd love to have you on the podcast.
Yes,
absolutely.
Please.
We're Jack stands over here.
Jack stands.
Because he is, yeah.
He's a character.
And do we know? Does he still owe Rodney like $400 million? How is?
Probably.
I don't know how we left that.
I think with Monster buying Bang for so cheap, that kind of worked itself out.
No.
And Monster has like a 5% royalty on everything Bang sells in perpetuity. So,
but they own Bang, don't they?
Yeah, that was also part of the. I mean, they were.
How do you get a 5% royalty when you own the brand?
Yeah,
well, I think what I'm saying is, I think once they bought it, everything kind of sorted itself out. I believe because they got it for pretty cheap, and they also had that royalty. So I think they just said, "We'll take it and call it square."
Call it square.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah,
because he owed a ton.
I mean, $500 million.
Yeah.
But he also has said that instead of hiring lawyers, he just uses AI for his legal stuff. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And he takes the stand himself too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure against his lawyers or even AI lawyers' advice.
Yeah, in that way, he kind of reminds me of my boy, Sam Bankman-Fried, who defied all of his lawyers' advice and took the stand, much to his detriment. Yeah, so, really bad news for the AB guys, but, it's still a small part of their their business. We'll see. I do want to announce that we have a new member of the Beer Business Daily team. His name is Basco. He is a Basset Hound puppy that I've just acquired, and he'll be making some appearances, I think, on the podcast with Biscuit. Biscuit is still doing fine.
Oof,
It's
okay.
helping raise him. And Basco is a Basset Hound. I don't know if you realize this, Jen, but Basset Hounds were originally bred in France in the 1800s as a mistake. Then they kept breeding them as a joke because they thought it was so funny looking. They bred them really for like their women and children and the village idiots to entertain them. And the problem with a Basset Hound I found is that it still has the equipment of a bloodhound. Like it has the mental and it has the nose.
Mm-hmm.
So it still has that instinct to, kill rabbits, but it doesn't have the body
Yeah.
to do it.
It
So
just
it's
trips
really
over its
funny.
ears.
It's a great, I'm not going to say I got the dog as a bit, but it's turning into a bit.
My first
Yeah.
dog was a Basset Hound.
Whose?
Mine.
You had a Basset Hound growing up?
Yes, I had a Basset Hound, but my parents gave it away after like a year or two because it kept digging holes in the backyard and it had incessant bladder problems. So you don't have a backyard though, so it's cool.
What do you mean I don't have a backyard? Has she not been to my house?
I've been to your
Uh-huh.
house. I
I
didn't.
have a backyard.
Oh, you do? Oh,
Yeah,
haven't
and
seen it.
he digs holes back there, but I encourage it. I will say that this property has been completely rabbit free since he's gotten here. So
Oh.
yeah, no rabbits at all. So
Maybe
doing
they're
his
in the
job.
holes,
Yeah. Yeah, and he's bladder problems. They say that they're impossible to potty train, so that's cool.
Yeah. And they're just an absolute mess too.
Yeah.
Getting water, their ears get in the water bowl. and
Yes.
They shake it off everywhere. But they're very funny, very cute.
Yeah. Yeah. You should have seen him coming up these stairs today.
Oh, I'd
Oh,
like to see that.
Yeah. I got a video of it. I'll show you.
please send it to us.
It's his first time. I'm like, I'm not carrying you up the stairs because I don't know if I've mentioned this to you guys, but I've been having hip problems. Have I mentioned that, Jen?
Just once.
Just
Just once.
once?
I have a good memory.
Yeah. All right. Well, next week, I don't even want to announce it, but there is a clue. There's a clue of who we're going to have on the podcast next week. I'm not even going to tell you the clue, but I am wearing it.
I'm
We'll
not going
see
to
if
tell
it
you. I'm
actually-
just going to wear it completely
just
on my
wearing
head.
We'll see if that actually happens. So that's why I don't want to announce it, but we'll see. All right. Well, listen, I'd love to sit here and just bullshit with you two all day, but we need to dig down and find out what's really going on with this ghost thing. And that is because that's our job. And we never shirk our responsibilities, do we, Jordan?
We do not.
No, sir. All right. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Cheers.
All right. Whoa.